Hi, my name's Lisa Abbott and I am the Associate Head of School for Nursing and Midwifery here at Birmingham City University. Welcome along to your Scuppern course, and we're really glad to have you here and glad that you've chosen us at this university. You're in very capable hands with our amazing teaching team. We really hope you enjoy the course. So Amy asked me to talk to you a little bit about my leadership journey and what's important to me as a leader. So I thought I'd perhaps tell you a little bit about myself first of all, and then pick out on a few key values that really resonate with me. So I'm a children's nurse by background. My background is children's intensive care nursing, although it does feel quite a long time ago now. I did diploma level nurse training, which was Project 2000 in the 90s. And I did that at University of Salford. I came back to Birmingham, so I'm a Staffordshire girl, and I worked at the Children's Hospital for a number of years before going travelling around the world and eventually coming back to PICU at BCH. I always had a really strong love of working with students, and there's something special about working with students and being able to inspire and motivate other people, and to teach them and to help them to learn and to be the best that they could possibly be. And I felt that was quite powerful, and it started to make me realise about the power of education to actually change people's lives. And that's what eventually led me to becoming a lecture practitioner here at BCU, which was 16 years ago in 2004. When I started at BCU, I didn't have a degree. I had my diploma still. I had some specialist training, but I didn't have my degree. So I guess one of the first leadership qualities maybe I showed at this point, rather than at the bedside, sort of in relation to myself and my own career, which I think was quite important, was I took the step of introducing myself to the then head of school, who was Lilith Williams. And that's quite a brave thing to do. I wanted to find out more about the job, and I wanted to say to her how much I really, really wanted to work at BCU and to work with students, and how I was really inspired to work in education, but I didn't have a degree yet. I only had a diploma, and I knew a degree was part of the criteria. And she was amazing. She actually really motivated me and encouraged me. Just apply to a top-up degree course, find one, apply to it. So then when you apply in the course, you'll have one in the wings, and that will put you in a good position. And it did, which was amazing, and I managed to get the job. So I spent the next sort of 10 years really learning all about education, teaching, still in practice, and at university, doing lots and lots of study, which included my top-up degree, my 2 PG certs, my master's, and I'm now a PhD student. And I have to say, when I did my diploma in nursing, I never ever thought I'd be a PhD student, but here I am doing that. So throughout those, apart from having 2 children, throughout those educational opportunities that I took on board, and they were opportunities that I decided to take, and I think that's another important point about your career, is you must look for the opportunities, and it's the same in leadership. Look for the opportunities, see where they are. Don't always wait to get asked. You have to go and find the opportunity for yourself. What is it they say? If opportunity doesn't knock, then build a door. And sometimes that's really important. So I did take a fair few opportunities in my career. I've had the role of deputy course leader for child nursing, which I really enjoyed. I always said I never wanted to be a manager. I never wanted to manage people. I thought it seemed like quite hard. I'm quite an easygoing kind of person. I would rather not be in a conflict situation. So management, I always thought management must be conflict. That was my impression. So when the head of department post for child nursing came up, I kind of knew I was in a really good position, having done the deputy course leader role, to go for it. But I had to really put some brave pants on and think, is this something I want? This is going to involve managing people. But anyway, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to go for it. And I did, and I was successful, and I absolutely loved it. And I really enjoyed managing people, and I found the thing that I really enjoyed about students in managing people, which again was about making a difference to their lives, and the fact that as a manager, I wasn't there just to tell people what to do or to I don't know, say you can have annual leave or to give them workload. Being a manager was much different to that. It was actually being trying to again inspire and motivate people to get the best out of their sort of professional lives and personal lives as well, and to try and motivate and encourage people to take opportunities, and to be the best they can possibly be. So yet again, as a manager, I still felt like I was really making a difference to those people's lives. One of the things that I did with the CYP team was to build an actual vision and mission for the team, to sort of build collective unity in what we wanted to achieve. And I felt like that was really important. As in any team, you have a really wide variety, a mix of people. And I always feel like it's really important to understand each person. So as a manager, who are the people in your team? What are their strengths? And to build on those strengths. I really do believe in strengths-based leadership. And so that was one of my key priorities. So we built a vision and mission. We all collaborated together to do that. That was really important. It's quite painful sometimes working on a project like that, because it's difficult to find agreement sometimes. But if you work hard at it, you will get there, and you will reach agreement eventually. And everyone at some point will go, yeah, I was part of that, and I can buy into that vision. So that was really important. So anyway, about 2 years into that role, the associate head of school position came up, and I don't know why, but I just thought, you know what, I'd quite fancy going for that job. And I can't really believe I did go for it. And sometimes I can't even believe that this is the job that I'm doing. I feel really privileged to be doing it. But I think I prepared myself quite well. I'd to do that. I'd done the right education stuff. I'd taken opportunities. I'd got involved in practice related work streams. I'd got involved in university and faculty and bigger than the university work streams. So I'd got kind of quite a broad, so I'd really prepared for this opportunity without realising it. And I'd even done a few Institute of Leadership and Management courses, which I did because I was interested about coaching and stuff. So I'd positioned myself quite well. When I went to this interview, there was quite a few people. I think more than 6 people were interviewed. So I knew it was really anyone could have got it. So I knew I had to work really hard. And do you know what? I worked really hard on my presentation, but the thing that I worked hardest on most of all was thinking about what questions they were going to ask me and being prepared for that. And the reason why that was so important was because I knew, after having interviewed quite a few people, that you scored on your questions. Your presentation is just one part of it. So I knew my answering and my questions had to be good. So I really did a lot of homework. I treated it like an exam. I worked really hard to do that. And amazingly, I was successful and got the job. And I have to say, I couldn't really believe it. I think that was 3 years ago now, and I really do enjoy my work. I enjoy working with Carol Doyle. She's really inspirational, and she does push me, and she does make me take opportunities. And it was her, in actual fact, that made me go for the Florence Nightingale Emerging Leadership Scholarship. She says, why don't you go for that, give it a shot? So I did, and I have to say, I went in haste and I applied online, and I filled out the application form very quickly, didn't save a copy for myself, just did it on the online form system, didn't download it. And I got through to the interview, and of course, because I'd submitted it all online, I had no copy of what I'd actually put. I was like, oh no, that's a big fail. I tried to get a copy of it from them, but they were like, no, there isn't any. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to have to go for it. The thing I knew I'd put about in this application was a lot about myself, but then also about you had to think about like a quality improvement project. And ironically, mine was all around blended learning. Bear in mind, this was in December, which was before COVID hit. So I went to the interview and there were 6 of us in a room and we all had to present our project to the panel of 2 people. The panel didn't ask a single question. All the questions came from the other presenters who were also going for the scholarship. So it was quite a different kind of interview than I was used to. But I did my absolute best. I was worried because I was the only, what I would say, academic or educationalist in the room. Everyone else was clinical nurses in clinical practice. So I was thinking, God, I feel like I'm sitting outside. But anyway, they after I presented it, I was like, I want this. And when I went down to present it, I was thinking, well, I'll give it a go, see what happens. But after I presented, I don't know why, it suddenly had this fire. I want this now. I could feel that this was a real opportunity yet again. And I was really lucky and I got selected for the scholarship, which is amazing. And I know Amy picked up on a few tweets that I'd done about the scholarship. So if you do want to follow my leadership journey, if on my Twitter name's at Lisa Abbott 75, so give us a follow, see what happens next. It's been an interesting year because of COVID. Obviously all of the stuff's online, which is a real shame because you can use a scholarship to travel and stuff, but it is what it is and I will absolutely make the most of it and use those connections. So I guess some of the things that I've talked about are about things that inspire me. So I guess as a leader, it's really important to know what motivates you. And I think what motivates me is when I see a difference being made to people's lives. That gives me a lot of happiness. And that's really powerful because that keeps me going and committed. So I'd say find that in yourself. What is it that motivates you? I would say take the opportunities that are there for you. And if the opportunity isn't there, work out a way in. There's always a way. Use your networks, build a good network. And that's a really good way of doing that. The other thing is about strengths-based leadership. And I think that's really important about rather than finding out what all the challenges are all the time, find out what the strengths are, build the strengths. I think that is really important. That's a really solid foundation, and then we can develop the challenging areas around that. There's one final thing that I wanted to tell you at the end, and that is I went to this a women's leadership conference with Carol in December. And they did this exercise with us, which was really fun. And we sat with someone we didn't know, who didn't know us at all. And they asked us a big list of questions. And the questions were like, what would your friends say about you? What's the most important thing to you? What do you like doing? What makes you tick? And all these kind of questions. And what would you do in this kind of situation, etc., etc. And the person that was asking you didn't know. And they wrote down all your answers. And then they stopped the timer and you had to stop asking the questions. And then they said, okay, based on the notes that you've got in front of you, you've got to make like a superpower name for the person. So the person I was working with, her superpower name for me was actually Braveheart, which is quite funny. And maybe if you've picked up on some of the things that I've just said in this little video sort of podcast or whatever it's called, you maybe can feel a little bit about that about me. I am quite brave. I don't mind taking a risk. When I went to Australia traveling, I went on a one-way ticket thinking, I'll be all right, I'll get back. So I am quite brave. I do step outside my comfort zone. I am prepared to stand up for people. But I do have a really big heart. I really care about what I do. I care about making a difference. I care about getting it right. And sometimes I feel like I care a bit too much, but actually that's a strength, and it's important to remember that about yourself sometimes. So I quite liked Braveheart, and I actually had a mug with it written on to remind me of that day. And I think it's quite useful for you all to think about, what is your superpower? Who are you? What is your strength as a person, and what makes you tick? So anyway, I hope this is useful to you. Give us a follow on Twitter. I'd love to get in touch with you, and absolute best of luck on your sort of journey over the next few months. Hope I might see you around sometime on campus one day. Anyway, take care. Bye bye.